Yo, Still Mills, what's the deal, man? Yo, I just got my car back. I'm heading home, man. Big homie is down bad right now, man. I thought I had an ear infection this past weekend. Like my ear feel like water, you got water in your ear, whatever the case may be. I go to the hospital or to the urgent care, get that shit looked at. They like, nah, you ain't got no ear infection. It's just wax in your ear, built up wax is right up against your eardrum. So prescribes me something. I go and I grab that, and I'm doing it, and it's working, But they got like this little rubber syringe you got to use to get all that extra moisture and everything out of your ear. And it did when I pressed on it a little, I released on it a little too hard, so it made this real loud ass suction noise right on my eardrum, and that flame my eardrum right back up. So I'm right back to square one. Right when I was making progress, man, nigga. This diabetes shit got a nigga hurting right now. But peep game, man, we gotta get into this shit, man. And that is Deontay Wilder versus Zhang, man. I'ma just come right on out and say it, man. I took no pleasure in watching Deontay Wilder go through that, man. Especially just see y'all know I can't stand Deontay Wilder. Watching that man walk out of the ring and just what he did, no post fight interview. Just I think in his heart of hearts, he's like, damn, it's really over. Because he said before the fight, if I lose, I'm retiring. I think in his heart, he's just like, yo, it's really over right now, man. It's wild when you just, when these athletes they grow accustomed to doing what it is that they've been doing for the X amount of years, and when it's finally over, that's a real hard pill to swallow and a serious reality check. These fighters, they just, they're not just fighters, athletes, man. Kobe, look how, emotional he was when he retired, man. Just athletes in general, this is their life. And now all of a sudden it's come to an abrupt stop. And with him, just, I took no pleasure in that. I'm not even going to care. I took no pleasure in that, man. Like, that, I took no pleasure in that. And usually a nigga would think that I'd be overjoyed because it's like, fine, get this nigga the fuck up out of here. But I took no pleasure in that, man. Yeah, but he is, first let's just talk about the fight, man. First, Wilder, if we being real, he showed more dimensions in that fight than I've ever seen in my he tried to show flashes of an uppercut, you know, I don't know, man, just he was getting up under shots a little bit better. Just it was still other shit I was saying, like, the rabbit punching and the slapping with the glove, not really turning his shots over in the pocket when he's under pressure or whatever. But the first round he did, I think he did pretty, he did all right. Neither one of them was really stepping on the gas like that at all. It really didn't. Just as fast as the fight heated up, that's when it stopped. So, second round, I think Deontay Wilder, a few jabs to the body, and then when Zhang would close distance, man, I just think because it was so, he's not really, he's not fast like that. He doesn't. His thing is timing, so he doesn't have speed and athleticism like that. So Wilder was able to get out of the way of the shots, man. But from after that first round, it was just downhill for Deontay Wilder. The shots that Zhang was landing, I'm looking at this dude land shots right like on this dude's chest, and it's sending him careening into the ropes. And I was just like, yo, this is about to be ugly. He's hitting this dude with it, like not even scoring shots, bro. Just like, just shots like right here, and it's sending him to the rope. I'm just sitting here looking at this dude like, yo, this is about to get ugly, bro. This is about to really get ugly. And he's just doing that the entire fight, man. And that, I seen him land a few right hooks, lead right hooks, and it sent Deontay Wilder. You know what I'm saying? It sent him. And these shots are not thudding shots that's landing, but it's shots that's like, it's like you gotta have a keen eye for the sport to see the shit. Like, yo, those shots are landing. And it's sending them. It's sending them, bro. I'm just sitting here like, yo, this is about to get ugly for this dude. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm thinking Deontay Wilder is trying to drag this dude into deep water and drown him. But the thing is, Zhang isn't even opening up like that on his offense. He's just, he's biding his time because eventually, he can't outbox Zhang. So it's like you're eventually gonna have to open up. And when you open up, I'm gonna be there to capitalize on your, on the holes in your game. And that's eventually what happened, man. In the fifth round, that's when you see Deontay Wilder start to come to light. Because I think the crowd was booing. It was like 3 in the morning when they got in the ring. Finally, they started booing. And all right, cool. Now it's time to clock in. And Deontay Wilder started lining. He started landing the rights. He started throwing them, lining them up with them rights down the pipe, lining him up with them rights, lining him up with them rights, and and a few rights landed. A few rights landed, but the thing is, it was so much of a weight differential. It was just like non-existent. And I think he's, composed, he's poised enough and, savvy enough to get out of the way of the big, big shots. And he has that shock absorber in his neck. So he was able to eat those shots. And even like a lot of when he would close distance, because like I said before, because the shots were so slow, he was able to get up under the shots and get off of the rope. It was one segment in that fight where Wilder is just taking punishment on the rope, and he gets right back off to the, he gets right back to the middle of the ring. But he just kept backing up to the ropes. I'm like, why are you backing up to the ropes? What are you doing? You don't want to be on the ropes. You're trying to set a trap. I get that shit, but you want to do that shit at mid-range. You want to do that shit at the middle of the ring, You don't want this dude to just keep you trapped on the ropes and pin you to the ropes. And sure enough, in the fifth round, it was his doom, man. He's landing this right hook. He's getting not right hook, but he's landing this right straight, and he's getting in a rhythm with throwing that right straight. He's getting in a rhythm with it. And I'm like, yo, he lined him up perfectly. He threw that right. He slipped to his left and threw the overhand right hook over the top. And showing up that spin move that nigga was doing for all the training camp on the mids at the open media workout and all that shit, he did. He did. And he was so discombobulated after that shit, man. He's looking at the ref as if he got hit in the back of the head or something. And he got caught with a devilish right hook, and it was a wrap after that. Deontay Wilder's entire career was doomed for him to fail, bro. Like, and what I mean by that, just when you allow somebody to gain a certain level of arrogance to them because they're just so enamored and complacent with him having an equalizer to the point where he feels he doesn't even need to train. And yo, man, heavyweight, nobody watches heavyweight boxing to see skill. They want to see knockouts. They want to see power. They want to see this and then the third and yada yada yada. Yo, pause. But yeah, man, when you're just so when you're in such a heightened level of arrogance, where it's like, yeah, I just watched the interview today that somebody posted when he did an interview with Dante's Boxing Nation. He's talking about, I don't even train, I don't do road work. I go in the gym, I just spar because what God gave me ain't for everybody. So I ain't trying to, discourage everybody else from doing what it is that they need to do. But I'm just saying, for me, I don't need to do what everybody else does because, I got God-given, I got a God-given gift and power. And that eventually became his doom. That arrogance, man. His arrogance wouldn't even allow himself to learn shit. And even when he was in the process of learning shit, I got a homie like this where they're so arrogant and they're just so bullheaded and they don't want you to have that over them, that they taught you this or they helped you develop this, whatever it is, that I'll give you this. You can teach me this, but I'm going to show you this. Even if it's something that you're not asking for. So if I'm giving you expertise on something or whatever that can help you and better whatever it is that you got going on, you're going to find a way to match that by giving me some sort of expertise on something that I may not even be asking for. That was the trade-off with Wilder. I'll allow you to teach me this shit. I'll allow you to teach me this shit or whatever the case may be, as long as I get to add my own certain pizzazz to it, which was him doing that Spinaroonie shit when he was on the mitts, bro. This man's mindset was failed. It was destined to fail, bro. It was destined to fail. Malik Scott coming into his corner as the homie. A lot of times you don't want, I'm not no keeping it real ass nigga my damn self, man. So I'm never gonna be that guy to say, oh no, I just gotta be real. I don't like telling people about themselves, man. So I'm not, I'm not trying to begrudge Malik Scott. Malik Scott is very sympathetic towards that man's ego and he's going to do whatever it is that he has to do as a friend to preserve that shit. Because he, for you to give corrective action to Deontay Wilder is for you to disrespect him and where he's feeling offended by the shit that you're saying, and you don't want to do. He just didn't want to do that with his man, and that's understandable. That's understandable. But when you are training somebody, it's your job to make them the best version of themselves, so they don't have to deal with the shit that Deontay Wilder did with. And if they did, it's gonna be earned. Wilder is he's just an unteachable. He's an uncoachable dude, bro. He's an uncoachable dude. That's just the long and short of it, and that eventually became to his detriment. That became to his detriment, man. There's no reason why bro, with that right hand, if you develop a jab, some sort of counter punching, like you look at George Foreman. There's not a lot of George. It's not like George Foreman had immaculate feet and immaculate upper body movement and counter punching and all that. That wasn't his game. He was a brute, but what did he have? He had a jab. At his bare minimum, he had a jab to set up all his other attributes. He was durable. He was sturdy. He was tough. He had all of that working in his benefit, man. Wilder walked in there at a 70-pound disadvantage, bro, with no jab, with one right hand, with a right hand, no uppercuts, no hooks, no nothing. Had he at least developed a jab, he's in a lot better position than what he ended up being in. I just, eventually you have to humble yourself and allow yourself to be taught. You have to. You dig what I'm saying? And it didn't help that all of the media that he had access to would just allow him to go on their platforms and just bloviate about a whole bunch of nothing. Never interject, never asking questions. I'm not saying asking tough questions. I'm not saying that to the point where it'll make him feel some type of way where he's feeling slighted and feeling offended. No, I'm not saying asking tough questions, but just interject and kind of give the interview some sort of direction. They don't do that. They just allow him to do whatever it is that he wants to do. Because he's Deontay Wilder. And he's not about to allow himself to be, steered in a certain direction, man. Like, it's really ridiculous with how that dude operates, man. It's really ridiculous. And it reflected in his training habits and how he allowed himself to be taught. Yeah, I'll allow you to teach me something as long as I can do the spinneroonie. You know what I'm saying? It's just ridiculousness, man. And Malik Scott, just the pandering to it and accommodating him, man. Like, I'll never forget this nigga throwing up or trying to show Deontay, yo, man, we're gonna teach you, we're gonna work, tapping the body. He's doing all these hooks and everything to the body and all that through the body armor. He's trying to drink water and it shows him throwing up water on the side. Man, come on, man. You know Wilder ain't tapping the body like that. You know that. But it's just the level of, just allowing his no accountability. No accountability, man. His arrogance and his demand for yes men around him eventually led to his inevitable doom. You can't do that in this sport, bro. This sport is way too violent for that. For Zhang Zhang to graze you with a hook, graze you, and it spins you around like that, the same spin the Rooney shit you was doing in training on the mitts and all that shit and slip drills, you do, except you're only doing it because a nigga is sending you off of a punch. Nah, bro. That man's arrogance led to his inevitable doom as a fighter. No one ever challenged him. No one ever, it was no corrective action when it came to Deontay Wilder. It was just the Bronze Bomber, Bomb Squad, and all that shit. And he the champ. We got a Black American champ. A multitude of title defenses. All of that shit that's all that mattered, other than cultivating this man's skill and really turning him into a beast that he could have eventually become. You can't teach height and length, bro. Dude is 6'6", a legitimate 6'6". There is no fighter in this world that he would not have been able to touch had he, been trained properly and had he allowed himself to be trained properly. But he didn't. You dig? You're arrogant off of fighting club fighters and blown up cruiserweights and bottom 40 opponents is there's no reason why as a champion your best win is a dude who's never called a title, and even when he steps up in competition, he gets beat. You know what I'm saying? I took no joy in watching that shit, bro. I honestly didn't. I took no joy in watching Wilder get sent off like that, man. I'm watching him go to the, to the SUV after the fight, and just look at just defeat and depression was just on. I'm just like, God damn it, bro. I took no joy in that. That shit wasn't amusing to me at all, man. Like I really felt bad. I real life felt bad and felt some type of way and sorrow for the dude. And just before on Friday, I'm like, yeah, man, it's fight night, man. Yo, we about to get this nigga the fuck up out of here. Bro, you got to think, man, your kids watch your fight. Your kids watch you. You're a superhero to your kids. And for your kids to see you in such a vulnerable state like that. And then, it, nah, man. I took no pleasure in that. Even with him, man, just seeing how down and just discouraged he was off of that loss. I took no pleasure in that, bro. I really felt some type of way about that. I made a couple statuses on Facebook about it, but I didn't OD like I did. The Joseph Parker fight was a lot more, like I was giddy for that because, that was just him getting touched up and not getting brutally knocked out. This dude has been brutally knocked out twice. Brutally knocked out, no, 3 times. That last knockout with Tyson Fury was vicious. Then you get this shit right here, just what, 3 fights later? Nah, man. And another thing, it's also, just this is why it helps to fight quality level opposition. You dig? The minute he stepped up significantly, Luis Ortiz is Joseph Parker. Luis Ortiz is not Zhang. He's not none of them dudes. But everybody wanted to run off with this boogeyman narrative for Luis Ortiz to enhance Deontay Wilder's a win over him. It's like, yo, it's fools go. You playing yourself. The best competition in the heavyweight division is not in America. It's not in America. This man was, Joseph Parker, you dig? Dillian White, Derek Chisora, Usyk, Joe Joyce, Daniel Dubois, Philip Hergovich, Zhang, as he saw, Joshua, Povetkin. All the talent was overseas, over in Europe. And he never wanted to go find out unless it was somebody like Arthur Spilker, who was like ranked 40 or some shit like that. You dig what I'm saying? And so when he significantly stepped up in opposition, you saw that right hand. We gonna find a way to blanket that right hand. You got that shit off with Fury. The first fight with Fury, the first and the last fight with Fury was not him at his best. It wasn't him at his best. It wasn't him at his best. But you're comfortable and you're comfortable enough with him to load the right. You shared the ring with him. 20 plus rounds. You're comfortable throwing that right hand. But now what happens when you're in front of somebody who's fought at a certain level consistently and has been a champion consistently and has been in front of the best there is to offer in the division consistently? It's going to look different. Ortiz wasn't like that. He was only like that with Fury because you had, he wasn't at his best when you fought him the first time. So it looks different, bro. When he significantly stepped up in competition, it's not that he can't throw the right hand. It's just that he's not comfortable with the timing of throwing it. Because these dudes are not going to be there to receive the shot as much as someone like a Dominic Brazil or a Molina or Arthur Spilker or Bermain Stavern or even what's my man name, Hellenius. And I think that I could give him credit for the Hellenius fight because who Hellenius had just beaten, how he beat him. He wasn't a world beater. He's not Povetkin or nothing like that. But nonetheless, all right, cool. You can have that. I can give you some. He was a top win in the division. I can give you that. Even though he wasn't a top win, he was a top win in the division. You know what I'm saying? I got to give him credit for that. But it just looks different. It looks different when you're in front of these dudes who have been in front of other quality operators in the division. And you go in there, and when you finally decide that you want to significantly step up, you can't pull the trigger. You're inactive, and then when you do pull the trigger in front of somebody like a Zhang, it's not the right hands ain't affecting him as someone like it's not affecting him as much as it affected somebody else because he's been in there with other concussive punchers like a Joe Joyce. Joseph Parker been in there with another concussive puncher in Joe Joyce. Anthony Joshua, he's been in there with some big punchers. So I built up the callus in my chin, bro. I'm there for. You're not just gonna step on me like that. It just looks different, man. So it looked different in front of him, and that's the result that we get now with Deontay Wilder, man. I'm begging this dude just retire, like real rap, and that's not even me being facetious or nothing like that, because what happened to him is going to happen to him again. And now we're talking about, brain, brain trauma, indefinite brain trauma, bro. I want this dude to retire. I was saying last year, he doesn't need to retire. He needs to get active. After what Zhang just did to him, he needs to retire unless he can calculatively pick his fights. Francis Ngannou was calling him out. That's not a fight that he needs to take. No, bro. No. That man has made a massive amount of wealth. You don't need boxing no more, Brody. You just need to go on ahead and ride off into the sunset. Ride off into the sunset, because that Anthony Joshua fight is out the window. You're gonna have to go through you're gonna have to officially go through a gauntlet of competition to fight him. You're gonna have to go through a gauntlet opposition to get to Anthony Joshua. Both times you were supposed to fight that nigga in these, you were supposed to beat Joseph Parker, then you were supposed to beat Zhang. And you came up short in both of them after you turned down 120 M's, bro. The only road to Anthony Joshua is a back alley with 100 dime moves in, and they shooting dice. That's not no alley you want to walk down, bro. Just go on ahead and retire and just ride off into the sunset, man. You made all the money that you need to make. None of this shit is worth your health. That's how the fuck I'm feeling about it, though, man. I'm about to go in the crib and find me something to eat because I'm starving, man, and get this ear situation figured out. So I'll get with y'all later, yo. Y'all stay righteous. Doses.